Hey YouTube, Chris Piasek here. I talk about illustration stuff. In this video, I'm gonna walk through my process, starting from a rough sketch to a finished illustration. For this demonstration, I'm going to work through a piece I'm making to celebrate reaching 40,000 followers on my Instagram account. Maybe you go follow me there. We got my thing. But don't leave now, watch the video afterwards. Well, watch all of my videos here, and then once they're all done, then maybe go to Instagram, or just wait till you're on Instagram and then think, oh, what was that? What was I supposed to do? And then follow me. I wanted to make one of those DTIYS challenge things. Do you know what that is? I didn't know what it was till recently. It means draw this in your style. People draw something, post it on Instagram with that tag, and it's like, hey, draw this in your style. And then people join in and draw that in their style, and it's kind of a fun way to collaborate and share things. So I thought this would be fun. The problem for me is that I typically draw a whole bunch of things, or just things that aren't friendly for a simple draw this in your style challenge. I think it's because I lack a little bit of confidence in just doing one simple thing. So I just kind of hide that by doing lots of things. For some reason, when I do one thing, I'm like, this is not good enough. I decided to stop overthinking it, and I came up with this little sketch, this little cloud man farting, and then there's a rainbow. Well, you can see the rainbow is connecting the head cloud and the toot cloud. And then I'm gonna add some lettering in there to polish the turd, if you will, or polish the toot. It's more fitting for this. I'll meet you at the iPad, and we'll start turning this sketch into something a little bit better.
Okay, so I got this farty cloud here, and I'm gonna start tightening this up. I want to go for that like retro-y, printmakey, probably do Rezo print color look here. So I'm gonna use a bit of a textured brush, and I don't know, let's just get started. So the first thing I'm gonna do is bring down the opacity of my sketch, and I'm gonna make a new layer, and I'm gonna select black. And for a brush, I'm going to use the Retro Supply Co. Classic Anchor. This one has a little bit of a texture to it, which I want for this illustration. I'm gonna make sure my smoothing is turned all the way up because there's a lot of smooth lines here. There's nothing too jagged. So smoothing it out just kind of keeps things simple. So if you like these Retro Supply brushes, which I'm probably gonna use for everything in this drawing because I want that retro look, there's a link in the description to check out their brushes. It's also an affiliate link, so if you purchase brushes through the link, I get a little cut. Just want to be transparent about that. So there's really no secret to this process for me. It's really just smoothing out my lines and I guess tightening it up as I go. I do sometimes change things from my sketch. Actually, I often change things a lot from the sketch, but I don't know. This sketch feels kind of how I want it to, so I might not be changing that much here. I guess we'll see as we go. So I don't know what to tell you. When I'm using this brush, doing these like cloud shapes, lines like this, I like to let it taper and get a little thicker towards the middle. And I can control that with just some subtle variation in pressure. And I try to just take the weight off of the tip of the pencil as I'm going down where I want it to taper. But I don't want it to taper there because this is going to go behind this cloud cheek. Is that what you call it? Cloud puff. That makes more sense than a cheek. So that one I pressed a little too hard. don't want. So now I'm just sort of like assessing where the parts of the cloud go in and out, just so it makes some sort of sense. And then maybe I might try to relate the cloud shape to the mouth and the face. Like, I don't know, maybe it should be like a butt chin situation. I often accidentally hit the eraser while I'm drawing. I think it's my wrist touching the screen. I don't know if you can see here, but I just noticed a little while ago that I have a big sort of gouge scratch in my paper like screen protector, which I'm not that psyched about. But I sort of deserve it because I just purchased a new screen protector to try that a couple people have recommended that I'm gonna test out and do a little video on. So I guess I deserve having a messed up screen. So I'm pretty happy with that cloud shape. You can see down here what I meant by tying it into the face. Just sort of wanted like a relationship between the face and the shape of the cloud. So this sort of big chin, I guess, I don't know. Might be a stretch to call it that. I do sort of skip around when I'm doing this. Sometimes I'll like do the stuff that's hardest first. Like hands can be tricky. And you'll notice I'm always like moving things around, trying to get like the perfect angle for drawing. Because it's easier to do certain curves from certain directions. I sort of lifted that thumb up a little bit more from the sketch. No real reason, just felt like I wanted to. I do sort of feel like this is a little too skinny, like it should come up more. I don't know. I can end up noodling with hands quite a bit when I don't want to. Yeah, I guess that's a little better. Get a little coffee over here. Let's do this other hand. I try to be consistent in the amount of pressure that I'm drawing with so that the line weight stays consistent. I hate when I'm spending a lot of time on like one area if I'm like zoomed in and I'm like not pressing as hard as I was before or pressing harder and I don't realize it, and then I zoom back out and the line quality doesn't match. That's annoying. Let's do these wiggly arms. Whenever I'm editing like drawing process like this, I always feel like I want to speed things up because it seems tedious to watch. But then oftentimes, I don't know why I just said oftentimes, that's not what I mean. But sometimes I think it's helpful to see it in real time so you sort of have an idea, if that matters. It matters to some people, I guess. I like these little overlap lines. I feel like it gives a little depth to the gloves. All right, so I like this smooth curve of the body, and instead of trying to draw this and then draw that, what I'm going to do is make a new layer so I can just draw it all the way through. came in a little bit closer than the sketch, but I think that's okay. And now since it's on its, whoops, I just punched the microphone. But since it's on its own layer, I can just go in and erase where it overlaps, and then I can merge it down. So we can go here and do the back side. I want this spot where it overlaps to be a little thinner, thin out at the bottom. So foot action. I'm not a store, foot action. So as you can see, I got lines going both ways over here. I think the line should come over the foot, but I want it to taper, so I'm going to start over here so that I can start to lift the pencil on the way up to sort of get that subtle taper. And now the pants or tights. I think they're tights. I don't know what cloud people wear. Is that angle correct? All right. So I think the next thing to draw would be the fart. So I think I got the shape pretty good in the sketch, so I don't really need to do too much work here. I think I might change this so that the middle bump or puff overlaps. Like that. And I'm gonna do the rainbow thing on another line, so I'm gonna just continue that all the way through. That way I don't have to worry about it being perfect. I'm going to start the two clouds from the cloud so that I can taper it. Actually kind of like that that random little dot that occurred. That didn't taper enough. It's okay. Then we need some of this little toot lines. Why do I feel like this is not the first time I've said that in one of my videos? I think we also need some toot particles. It's disgusting. I guess this toot lettering should make it toot-like. A little wiggly. It's going good until I did that T. I think got a little too tight to the O, so I'm gonna just give that a little more breathing room. I'm like visually trying to keep this angle here. Sometimes if it was more complicated than this, I would go on a new layer and draw the baseline that I wanted to follow. And maybe the top, like that. And then I would bring down the transparency and use that to draw the letters. Actually, now that I see it, I can bring this down a little bit to follow it a little closer. Then we can go ahead and delete that. All right, so now we just got to do these rainbow lines, but I think I want them to be solid colors and not outlined. So let's go ahead and make a new layer. You may have noticed I have some colors already on a layer here because I didn't want to spend time overthinking colors. So I picked them ahead of time. So we're gonna go with this pink on the outside. So just gonna go for it. This is the part I'm most nervous about because I want it to be nice and smooth. And I gotta line up all these different colors. And I also want it to like have a little bit of, I don't know, depth almost. So it's like going back and coming forward a little bit. So that's why the lines are thinner. Where they come out, they get a little thinner here, then they get wide up front. So I'm doing this in pieces because I think it'll be too hard to match that line in one stroke. And it's a little bit easier because we're not outlining it, so we can sort of do stuff like that and not mess with the line quality. So I'm just going to close this shape up, fill that in. We could actually go and work behind the other drawings so we can see what we're doing. All right, so let's grab the orange. I'm actually going to do this on its own layer too, just to give myself more flexibility in case something goes wrong. All right. Then we can do the yellow. We'll do this one on its own layer too. I think I won't know if I have to adjust them until they're all colored in. Then we'll see if the balance makes sense. Move the blue layer behind the yellow so that I can fill it in behind it, not mess up the thickness of the yellow one. Okay, so now I'm going to turn off my sketch so I can just sort of focus on these colors and see if I need to make any changes. I think at this point it'll be easier to merge the colors together and then erase what we don't need. So I'm going to grab the Magic Wand tool, select inside the line work of the cloud layer, and also, actually we can't do it here because that's not a closed shape. So go back to the rainbow layer, erase that. Cool. Is that part of the thing? You wear ugly pajama pants? That's the thing? Okay. Trying to record a video over here? It's okay. The audio may be fucked because of the shower, but I figured I could at least record it, and if I have to redo the audio, I will. I just don't want to have to rush through all of it. Okay, so I think the pink is a little too thick and the orange is a little too thin. So I'm gonna go on a new layer. I've noticed when I've been editing my videos that I have a bad habit of saying, so I'm gonna, meaning like, so I'm going to. And I don't know what else to say about that besides that I don't want to do that, so I'm trying not to. So I'm gonna. All right, so and pull the orange out a little bit. I think that's a little better. We got all this extra orange that we don't need. And I'm noticing this pink is a little lumpy over here. So I'm gonna erase some of it. The problem is erasing it is gonna ruin our texture. So I'm gonna erase more than we need and then try to redraw it in. Okay, so I think we're getting close. I think this orange just needs to fill out that area a little bit more. All right, so the one thing I don't like is how this rainbow is coming into the cloud. I don't even know how to describe it, but it doesn't, I feel like this could be nicer. So, because I don't really know how I want it to look, I'm making a new layer and I'm gonna just draw over it in white. Instead of just like erasing and hoping that I get it right. I feel like this, actually, I think I got it. All right, so I'm gonna merge this orange down, and then I'm on the layer that I just drew the white on. I'm gonna grab the magic wand, select the empty space, and then go to select invert selection, and then it's gonna select just the white. I'm gonna turn that layer off, select the rainbow layer again, and then hit erase. Deselect. And now we have what we need. So I'm gonna go ahead and delete this swatch layer. And now we can, what's this layer? I don't even know what this is anymore. I think this is, oh, that was the white. Okay, delete that. Our sketch layer, we don't need that anymore, so delete the sketch layer. The only other thing I have here is this paper texture that I want to use. So we'll deal with that later. Okay, so now I just need to erase these lines that overlap the rainbow. Okay, feel pretty good about that. I think I'm just gonna go with black tights, even though we spent time tapering those lines. Sometimes you just gotta do that. So just gonna fill that in. Okay, and I think we'll make this shirt blue. So I'm gonna keep that on the color layer. So I'm gonna set this as a reference. And now if I go to the color layer, I can select the blue, grab the paint bucket, and just fill that in. And it'll fill based on the reference layer. Okay, so I'm gonna turn off that reference layer. Go back to my color layer, and I'm gonna fill, actually I'm gonna make a new layer so I don't have to worry about overlapping. And I'm just gonna color in this fart cloud. The fart cloud will be yellow. It's not, you wouldn't have a white cloud because white isn't a smelly color.
Oh, gross.
Again, I feel like I've discussed this before, but I think the optimal smelly color would be like a green. But green is not in the palette that we are using, and I'm not about to introduce a random color. But yellow is also a pretty stinky color, so we can use yellow. And I think the eyes will be pink. I could have used the paint bucket with the reference layer thing, but I didn't, and I didn't want to do it again because it didn't seem like it was worth the effort.
So, my plan for this video was to just make it one video, going from a sketch to a final image, which I thought would be a relatively short video. Turns out, it takes me a little bit longer than I thought. So, I'm gonna cut this off here, and then we'll do the rest of it in the next video. So, stay tuned until next week to see me finish this illustration. In that video, I will add a little bit of lettering, that little burst on the side, and then we'll go into some texture using the Retro Supply Rezo brushes. I'm not really sure how I feel about a video like this showing it in real time, because I feel like it's a little tedious and long and hard to watch. But some people have asked about seeing the process in real time as opposed to just like sped up. My concern is that showing it in real time is gonna get boring, so let me know in the comments if you prefer to see it sped up or you like to see it in real time, or maybe you'd like to see a mix of both. I don't know, let me know. I'm very curious. I appreciate you. Thank you. Good talk.